All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to demystify one of the most satisfying DIY car jobs you can do, changing your own oil. And look, if you're a complete beginner, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break this down step by step and show you just how easy and, honestly, empowering it can be. Let's get started.
You know, this quote really gets to the heart of the matter. Think about it. Those quick lube places, they often use the cheapest possible parts to maximize their profits. But when you do it yourself, you're in the driver's seat. You're not just saving some cash, you're picking out quality parts, and you get that priceless peace of mind knowing the job was done right.
And just look at the difference here. On the left, that's your typical shop service. You get basic oil, a generic filter, but on the right, that's the DIY route. You can upgrade to a top-tier synthetic oil and a premium filter, and often for less money than the shop charges for their budget stuff. It's a total win-win.
So, here's our game plan. We've broken the whole thing down into 5 simple parts. We'll talk about why you'd even want to do this, what gear you'll need, how to lift your car safely. That's a big one. Then the 3 main steps of the job itself, and finally, how to wrap it all up and clean up like a pro.
All right, let's dive into part 1. Why even bother doing this yourself? I mean, beyond saving a few bucks, what's the real call to adventure here? Let's get into the motivation.
I absolutely love this analogy. Your car's engine is this incredible high-performance machine, and the oil, that's its lifeblood. But over time, that oil gets dirty and breaks down. So changing it is kind of like giving that athlete fresh, clean fuel to make sure it runs at its absolute best for a long, long time.
So let's just boil it down. 1, you save money. 2, you get to use way better parts. 3, you have that priceless confidence that there are no stripped bolts or loose filters. And honestly, there's a real satisfaction that comes from working on your own car. It's a great feeling.
Okay, moving on to part 2, gathering your supplies. Think of this like prepping for a quest. A little bit of prep work right now makes the entire job go so much smoother later.
Here's pretty much your whole shopping list, and the good news is it's mostly common hand tools. You'll need the correct oil and filter for your car, of course, a basic socket set, a catch pan, and a funnel. Oh, and see that optional breaker bar? I would highly recommend getting one. It gives you extra leverage and can be a total lifesaver if you've got a stubborn drain plug. Then on the right, you've got your lifting gear, which we're about to get to.
But how do you know you're grabbing the right parts? It's actually super simple. First, your owner's manual is your best friend. It'll tell you the exact oil viscosity. That's just a fancy word for how thick it is, like 0W20. And it'll tell you exactly how many quarts you need. Then, when you're at the auto parts store, they have these little flip bucks. Just find your car's make and model, and it'll give you the exact part number for the filter. Easy. And now for part 3, lifting your car safely. Okay, I get it. This is probably the most intimidating part for any beginner, but I promise, if you just follow a few simple rules, it's completely safe. This is where we enter the arena. Okay, listen up, because this is the single most important rule of working on your car. You never, ever get under a car that is only being held up by a jack. Jacks are for lifting, not holding. They can fail, and they do, without any warning. You absolutely must support the car's weight with jack stands before you even think about going underneath. No excuses, no exceptions. Think of this as your safety ritual every single time. First, use the reinforced jacking points your manual shows you. Second, slide those jack stands under a solid, sturdy part of the car's frame. Third, slowly lower the car until its full weight is resting on the stands. And finally, give the car a good firm shake. It shouldn't budge at all. That's how you know it's stable and safe to get to work. So, the car's safely up in the air. We have officially arrived at part 4, the main event. And you'll be surprised to hear that the entire oil change process really just boils down to 3 simple steps.
That's it, just 3. Thinking about it this way makes the whole job feel so much less complicated, right? And here's the magic formula, our little 3-step ritual. First, we drain out the old, nasty oil. Second, we replace the old filter. And third, we fill it back up with fresh, clean oil. Let's tackle them one by one. So, step 1 is all about this little guy, the drain plug. It's just a bolt at the very bottom of the engine's oil pan. Remember the old saying, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty? You'll turn it counterclockwise to loosen it. Once all the oil is out, you'll tighten it clockwise. Now the key here is to get it snug, but please do not over-tighten it. You can strip the threads, and that turns a simple job into a huge headache. Okay, now for a little tip that separates the beginners from the pros. Before you spin that shiny new oil filter on,
why should you take a second to pour a little bit of new oil inside it first?
And here's why that little step is so important. When you start an engine with a totally dry filter, the oil pump has to work to fill up that empty filter before any oil gets to your engine's important parts. That little moment of metal-on-metal wear isn't good. But by pre-oiling the filter, you get instant lubrication the second you turn the key. It's a simple trick for a longer-lasting engine.
Finally, we're adding the new oil. Follow these simple tips to make it a clean, easy process. First, wipe down the area around the oil cap before you open it. You don't want any dirt falling into your engine. Second, always use a funnel. And here's a great little trick. Turn the oil jug sideways when you pour. The oil will come out in this smooth, controlled stream. No glugging, no splashing. Much better control.
And that brings us to our final section, Part 5, the finishing touches and cleanup. You've done all the hard work, and now it's time for the Victor's Lap to make sure everything is perfect.
Look, the job isn't truly done until you've double-checked your work. So get the car back on level ground and just let it sit for about 5 minutes. Let all that new oil settle down into the pan. Then you do the classic dipstick check. Pull it out, wipe it totally clean, push it all the way back in, and then pull it out one last time to get your reading. You want that oil level to be right there between the low and high marks. That's the sweet spot.
So what about that pan of old used oil? Simple, you recycle it. Please, never, ever pour it on the ground or down a drain. Just funnel it back into the empty oil containers. As you can see here, pretty much any auto parts store and a lot of local garages will take it from you for free. It's the responsible way to finish the job. And there you have it. You've saved money, you've used better parts, and you've learned a valuable skill that puts you in control of your car's health. So the only real question left is, now that you know you can do this, what's the next DIY project you're going to take on?